So I was reading in the news about the the divorce case between Melinda and Bill Gates. It seems quite amicable, to be honest, though there has been a couple of sticking points I read in the news. I mean, Melinda's got the house, but it turns out that Bill keeps all the windows.
Oh, oh my
No,
God.
no, not reacting to that. No.
Control Alt Delete. Control Alt Delete.
Reverse. Shit, that joke incoming. The best bit about that was I actually got Carol. I got a Carol with that in. Yeah, you do hate me. Yeah, I got Carol with that, and I was just talking in the kitchen. I was like, "Oh, you seen that? You seen that Bill and Melinda Gates divorce thing?" Yeah, took a second for the penny to drop, but when it did, I got hit with a fucking loaf.
I bet you did.
And so you should.
It's like that noise problem that they've got in Hawaii. They've now, but apparently it's all too loud, so they've just been bringing noise down. So there's noise control now. So instead of a high ha, they have to just keep it to a low ha.
God almighty.
Can you please stop double barreling us at the start of these episodes?
Yeah, it's by the end, you guys are just going to have to just groan for like an hour and 40 minutes while I just go through an entire joke book. Almost have read it. Anyway, hello everyone and welcome to the Black Dog Podcast, version 2, episode 53. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And this week we will be seeing how everyone's week's been, except for Elton, who's off on a secret mission he can't talk about. So there you go. And then we'll see if we've got any feedback for last week's episode. But I suspect we don't. And then we'll move on to this week's movie, which is The History of Time Travel. A film I think it's safe to say that none of us knew about, but I think we might have a lot to say. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, which is currently on Amazon. And we will be reviewing that a little bit later. So, puns aside, how's everyone's week's been? So we'll start with you, Jim. How's it been, sir?
It's been the large amount of the normal busy bollocks. But rather than a weekly whinge about renovating a house and doing everything else, we took our little dog to get clipped.
Oh, yes.
She was getting shaggy again, and we took her the week before to see the lady who does the grooming, and she wasn't happy about being handled, so she had to have some chemical assistance to calm her down again.
All right.
But she bounced back quite quickly this time. She was really good because we were like worried, and because she obviously remembered from last time. But when the time came to go, we handed the lead and she trotted off with her like a good girl. So I was very proud of her. So that was nice. Other than that, I've been watching a few things. As
yep.
I kind of I bit the bullet. There's something that's been on Netflix for a while. I'm quite interested to watch, but it's going to be too grim. And I was left to my own devices in the house, and I thought, oh bollocks! I can always just turn it off.
Yeah.
And it was Ted Bundy in his own words on Netflix.
Oh,
the Joe Berlinger documentary series.
Oh, right.
Like a lot of people who grew up in the 90s, I did my fair share reading true crime books and being fascinated with serial killers until I got to the point and realised most of these are just shit.
Yep.
They're just they're just torture porn, basically, of the worst kind because it's real, and don't actually give you any insight into the criminology or the psychology or any of the stuff that Jim was interested in.
Yeah.
But Bundy always was one that interested me because he was kind of so atypical. Because a lot of serial killers are like barely functioning, frankly. You know what I mean? They're fairly antisocial in many ways. And I thought I'll give this a go, and I was quite pleased to see it. It's it is a very good documentary series. That it doesn't lean into the this is very, very serious, but here's all the gushy stuff you want to hear. They actually, having read a bit about it, they actually kept the details of his atrocities to a minimum. and didn't wallow in it, and it was very much focused on the victims, on the effects it was having in society. But it's all done with that archive footage and interview, from people interviewed at the time, and also people interviewed kind of after the fact, and just put together in a masterful way to give you a real kind of picture of how this case was sort of discovered after a few people, women had disappeared, and they realised they had it was the work of one man, and it went, but it went through his whole trial, which he insisted on conducting himself because he was a law graduate.
Right,
and it is fascinating because it's kind of Bundy. He was very intelligent, very charismatic, very kind of quite successful, really. I say it if anyone sort of think, I don't know, it might be a bit gruesome. No, it is. There's some of the things that naturally are going to be a bit disturbing, but in the main, it's very sort of thoughtful and measured, and it's not lurid in the slightest, and it is kind of. It does attempt to try and understand what was driving him, and actually, just also pull up things out of the police at the time, because different police forces in different states didn't communicate. It meant he could operate with it without getting caught. But I mean, it's fascinating though. I mean, because he's like almost. I say this advisedly, but he was kind of like a supervillain. He escaped from custody twice.
Oh, right.
I mean, seriously, he got caught. He was going up for trial, and he jumped out of a second-floor window, 26 feet, and then sprinted to a riverbed and off into the mountains and disappeared.
Oh, great.
And he'd worked this out, and he'd apparently, in the interview, said he'd practiced, he jumped off his bunk time and time again to build up the strength in his legs so he could leap out of this window and take and literally jump 26 feet to the floor.
Jesus.
And then run away.
Right.
And
Superhero landing as well.
Yeah, they caught him again, and he escaped again. He actually lost weight so he could squeeze through a vent.
Bloody hell.
And I mean, he is the argument for the death penalty. He was too dangerous to fucking live. He was really too dangerous to live. You know what I mean? He's kind of a very evil man. But a brilliant documentary, and one that is just kind of just genuinely kind of like, just fascinating for all, but in all the right ways and not in any kind of prurient ways. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you out to be a hero in the slightest. At the end, you're just appalled by this man, and he's kind of. He's just overriding arrogance even to the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thought he was smarter than everybody else. But he wasn't, and he fried in the chair. And I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. And I say that as a dyed-in-the-wool liberal who's against the death penalty. But in this case, no, I'm glad he fried.
Yeah. Good on him. I hope they had marshmallows while he was burning. Anyway, oh, great. So where can we find that? That's Netflix, yeah?
That's Netflix, yeah.
Oh, blimey.
I mean, I think I came at 6 or 8 parts, but I ended up doing the whole lot in one evening. It was kind of like Ted Bundy in his own words.
Ted Bundy in his own words.
Yeah, if you put Ted Bundy, it'll come up. It's Joe Berlinger, who's a very good documentarian. I've seen some other stuff before, and it's... But yeah, as I say, oh God, it's 2:30. I've stayed up this late. But it was kind of, I've got to do the last one now.
Yeah.
Last episode's called Burn Bundy Burn. I've got to watch this. I can't go to bed now. Got to see him fry.
Yeah, this is the bit I've been building up to all along. I can't stop now. Oh, brilliant. Okie dokie. Well, I might give that a spin, actually. That sounds good.
Yeah, I do recommend it. I was sort of wary about it because I think, I don't want to go into that, I like the dark side, but, I like fantasy dark side. I don't need to wallow in serial murder, but that was a journey worth making.
Nice.
I think I had actually a lot to say. So, yeah, the other thing I watched was, weirdly, I watched this the night before I watched tonight's film.
Yeah.
I nearly picked it, but it was on for pay for Amazon.
Oh, God.
And that was Synchronic.
Yes, I mentioned that a couple of weeks back, didn't I?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've seen all their other films, and this is kind of, okay, that's 4 for 4 for Morehouse and Benson.
Yep. It's good, isn't it?
It's really good.
It is
really,
really good.
really enjoyed that. I've kind of like, what a clever, profound, witty, and bizarre movie.
Yeah. It doesn't quite go the way you think. I mean, there's a couple of leaps in logic, and you kind of like have to just go with it and just go, okay, fine, it is what it is. But the actual core emotional story is really good.
Yeah, that's what I like about their movie. They take kind of a typical kind of like, sci-fi or fantasy or horror idea, but then they just shunt it slightly, put their own twist on it. But then also couple it to a very real and human storyline in a way that the fantasy contrasts the reality and vice versa, and it all just I'm so impressed by their movies, and that was kind of 4 for 4. Come on, this is it's an award-winning stretch for a creative team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, if any of their films are actually for free on Netflix or Prime, I'd certainly sort of put one of those on the list.
Are these the
really
same
good.
guys that did The Endless?
Yeah,
They did,
Recurring,
didn't they?
Endless, and Spring.
Yeah,
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Isn't The Endless on Prime?
I think it is.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I didn't see it when I was scrolling through a little earlier on, but
I've seen The Endless. I really enjoyed that. What was their first? Was it Spring?
Recurring's the first one.
I've seen Recurring as well. That's it's like a tamed down version of The Endless.
Well, that was their first movie, and then The Endless is kind of pulling the camera out of that situation. It's hard to describe without giving you massive spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 2 stories in the same universe.
nice.
Around the same events, basically, with different perspectives.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, if Endless comes back up again on Prime, I'll definitely nab it for my list if nobody else does, because that would be good, and it's synchronic as well. I'd love to give that another watch. That's interesting. Cool. Well, there you go. It's nice to have some good time travel stories where you don't kind of just go, "Oh, fuck off, Arnie." None of this makes any sense. Piss off, you Austrian twat. Anyway,
Time Cop flashback.
Time Cop. What was that? Seriously. God Almighty. I really should have saved that for when we reviewed it. I think we should have reviewed Time Cop. That would have been a great companion piece.
We can always do it.
No. To be quite honest, no. If I never see that again, it'll be too soon. That and zombie movies. But cool. Okay, cool. Anything else, Jim, or was that?
No, I'll leave that there.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll skip quietly over Agent Smith in the corner there, Elton. and then we'll move on to Darren. How's your week, sir?
Oh, well, bit of a quiet one this week.
Okay.
Not really that much went on.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did do, I basically just this week me and Ree did some multiplayer gaming.
All right.
Yep.
And when is the divorce?
Yeah, we went cooperative game. We went real retro
Go on.
as well, because Ree's not really that big into gaming, but she wanted to give it a go.
Yeah.
And so we went for the most basic of shoot 'em ups, which
Go
is
on.
Doom.
Well,
Doom.
yeah.
Now
Can't
I've got
go
that.
wrong with Doom.
I've got that on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Right. We burned through Doom 1 and 2 within 2 days. That was it. It was just like done and dusted. I've got to say, if you're, to devs out there, if you're going to make a game, right, and you want to give people a little bit of a challenge. You want to sort of like, give them so they have to sort of like try and do a bit of work to get to the next level. But how about you don't make it so that the actual answers lie only in your head, where people that's the only place they can find them, This is it. I shouldn't have to go online and look up the fucking solution for a level on Doom, for fuck's sake. Right? This is basic stuff. It's like suddenly the curve on this game goes up at a right angle on the last 2 levels.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we've got to find a certain thing, or, stand with your ass on a countertop, your finger on a button over there, a carrot up your nose, and a fucking celery in your ear. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, didn't you? No, because there's no fucking clue that that's what you've got to do at all.
But didn't you read all of the codexes online, Dal? Where it says about the celery carrot nose up the ear button press maneuver.
Yeah, whatever, man, whatever. It could go fuck itself, whatever. But apart from those very, I think it's like 2 or 3 levels where it's just like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? It's just been a really enjoyable experience. We both enjoyed it, and once we got in sort of like sync with one another, what we were doing, and Ree was like quite happy with the control system. We had a blast.
Nice.
We had a real good tune. I really enjoyed it. So there was that. And going on swiftly from that, 2 other games that I played this week. Yeah. One that I've never played before, which is a game based very much on the original Doom, but it's got the ability to look up and down, whereas Doom you can only look from left to right. This one you can actually look up and down it, and it's a game called Project Warlock.
Right.
Have you heard of it?
No.
It's a very cheap and cheerful game.
Yeah.
It's very good. If you watch the advert for it, it's got somebody. It's done for a little bit of laughs. You can hear it in the trailer. It's like the guy's got the typical voiceover. He goes, "I didn't ask for this. Oh, hold on a minute. Yes, I did." And it's that sort of sense of humour. Come on, let's go into hell. A little bit Duke Nukem-ish.
Oh dear. Yep.
But without scantily clad females and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's another good, cheap and cheerful game. A little bit more to do in it than Doom. There's a bit more of an RPG element to that. But you can get it for like £3 on good old games. It's only like 2 years old, but it's just really nicely done. And boy, do you move quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, your character doesn't fucking hang around. I'll tell you that in there. There's no need for like speed boosts. You've got that already anymore, and you'd be like flying off the bloody map.
Oh, right.
Within 2 seconds flat.
That's the sort of thing that usually gives me motion sickness when it's all just that fast. But
it did give Rhea a headache when she looked at it. I said, "Do you want to try this? It's only a single player." I thought, maybe you want to give this a go. And she looked at it and said, "Well, no, I want to do multiplayer gaming." And that's it. So that's fine. Cool. And so coming up to sort of like modern day, I started playing the Halo series again.
Right? I was going to say again. I was going to say welcome to 2003.
No, I've already been through it. I've got the Master Chief collection.
Okay.
And what they've done is they've done a whole bunch of graphic updates to stuff. And I started with Halo Reach, which is a story that keeps getting mentioned.
Yeah, so you're doing it in story chronology.
That's right, chronological order.
Yes.
Which is the first game that really doesn't feature the Master Chief in it at all. It's all about another group of Spartans who, have to deal with what seems like an unprovoked attack from the Covenant, who are the big enemies.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, the update that they've done on this is absolutely superb. The textures that they've retextured it all, and it looks stunning.
Yeah.
It really, really does. I mean, I've got both this version, and I've also got the Xbox 360 one. And the difference is like miles. It really is.
Yeah.
So
have you not played the remastered version before?
Not of Reach. I've played all the other ones. I've done like the Halo remaster, Halo 2 remaster.
Yeah.
I did these when was it the Master Chief collection? I think it was like about a year after it came out. It finally they dropped it to about a £5.
Right.
And it's just like the amount of stuff you get with this now, right, is you not only do you get the games, but you get the TV series with it, and you get a movie, and it's all plugged in to the central hub of the Master Chief Collection. You get a movie. You get Fall of Midnight, I think it's called.
Oh,
or Halo Midnight.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
But then you've also got a TV series. There's 20-minute episodes each, and it's got the guy who played Luke Cage.
Oh, yeah.
In it. He plays the main character.
Yeah.
In that one. Him and a group of, I think they're just normal soldiers. And you might get the odd cameo appearance from, one of the bigger characters throughout the game. But yeah, the amount of stuff you get with this now, they did like a massive update to it as well, and you got all these multiplayer maps and God knows what else.
Yeah, it's almost like they should be really spending that time updating Halo Infinite, which has got pushed back because it's all buggered.
Oh yeah. But what is it? Halo Master Chief Collection and Halo 5. If you install those on your system, that comes to just over 200 gigs worth of stuff. 200
gig?
Yeah.
Do you remember when when we all sat there and balked at
200 meg?
Yeah,
exactly.
Fucking 2 gig for Half-Life 2, and you're like, oh God, I've got to leave my telephone on for at least 6 hours. God.
Exactly. Yeah. Will it get there before the hour? Will it get there before the hour's up? Will
Jesus.
Have I got to redial?
Oh God.
So but this is the thing, right? The Master Chief Collection is games 1 to 4. And it's Reach and also ODST, right? And that is 100 gig, right?
Right.
Halo 5 is 100 gig by itself.
Jesus.
Yeah, I haven't installed that. So it's the only thing I've got missing, really, from the main stories.
Right. Okay.
But there you go. But, if anybody's got... if they haven't played the Master Chief Collection for a while, they've got it. And they can download, they can actually buy the add-in for Reach. Take a look; it's well worth it.
The only thing I remember about ODST, by the way, is that you didn't need to actually shoot a single shot. As long as you reached the checkpoint, you were fine. You could basically run through the entire game, except for one scene where you had to fly a helicopter.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, you can pretty much breeze through the game by just running in a straight line until you find a checkpoint. And it goes, checkpoint, and then you're just like, oh, I've died. Oh, it doesn't matter. Carry on running.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going. I don't need to shoot anything.
Well, that's got an update as well. I haven't actually had a look at the updated version of ODST yet, but I'll be getting to that. I'm going to try and play through them and, get to the end again. I always like to do it every once in a while.
Nice.
But there you go.
Cool. Okie dokie. Anything else? That's it, yeah? All good?
No. Oh, apart from the fitness thing, I've reached my target weight. Most happy with that. Thank you very much indeed.
Well done. Well done.
And I'm doing the running still. I'm still doing the running.
Still doing the running. Awesome.
Yeah, still doing the running. It took a bit of a right turn this week, though, because it goes from small increments of increasing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, from 90 seconds to 2 minutes, that sort of thing. It went from something like 2 minutes to fucking 5 minutes.
Yeah.
For each section of the run.
Yeah, that's the worst one. About week 5, and it's like, oh.
And all I could see by the end of the first time that I did it was
the oxygen tent.
No, it's the Year of Hell. The final scenes of the Year of Hell, Voyager, Year of Hell, where Janeway's piloting the fucking Voyager by herself. The fucking windscreen's gone. The cells are just held up by sticky tape. That was me. That was me by the end of the first attempt.
Nice.
So there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you keep at it, mate. Don't worry.
I'm going to.
Cool. Okay. Well, for my week, I skipped the thing with Dad. I mean, that's still ongoing. I finished a Greek historical murder simulator. I finished that yesterday. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey is now in my back mirror, barring a couple of dips into get some achievements, because I've nearly 100%ed it. And then I watched Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix.
Jupiter's Leg RC. Okay,
Yes.
what was that like? I've been...
Right, okay.
Jupiter's Boys. I mean, Legacy. Yes.
Okay, it's not quite Jupiter Ascending, let's put it that way, which is bloody awful. But no, it's essentially it's two stories. One set in the present day, and one set in the 1920s, which is and essentially what's happened is there is a family of superheroes. The main sort of Superman archetype. Then you've got his brother, who's like this kind of mind control guy, and then and their wife, the guy's wife, who's like, she's like Wonder Woman archetype, and they're kids, and there's the daughter, who in the modern day is basically a complete flake, though she's super powered, but she's a flake. She's not got the attention she wanted from her father, because he's always doing the right thing and standing by the code and all this kind of thing. And then there's the son, who's slightly younger and wants to aspire to be his dad when his dad passes the mantle on to him.
Right, okay.
That I've just told you there is essentially 4 episodes right there. What I've just told you, that's 4 episodes. Now, what you also do is you cut in between that the story of how the main character, the main sort of Ultraman kind of, the Utopian he's called, comes to be, how he gets his powers. And it's sort of like, it's at the start of the Wall Street crash, when, basically people are jumping off of roofs and, committing suicide, and, factory bosses are nicking workers' pensions to pay for things and sacking them and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, and every episode you cut back to this, and the story itself about how he gets his powers. Well, I've reached episode 4 out of 8, and only now is he starting to get. I don't want to say anything in case people want to watch it, because it's only been out like a week, but essentially it's getting to the point where you would kind of imagine in a sort of Batman movie or a Superman movie, you'd be at the end of Act 1. Bruce has fallen into the cave and seen the bats, or Superman's finally discovered that, after his dad's died, that he's actually from another planet. Those key moments. But it's literally only just started happening, and we're in episode 4. And each episode is about 45 minutes to an hour long. And frankly, I just feel like that, if you've got a series of 8, it needs to be moving a damn sight quicker than this. Especially considering that, frankly, the square root of fuck all has actually happened in 4 episodes. Nothing that I've described to you right now couldn't have been done in 2 episodes, 1 episode, 2 episodes really, I guess. But nothing's actually happened. They're setting up this world. They're setting up the various, people with superpowers. They keep mentioning that in the modern day, supervillains are doing things differently now. There's no more just robbing banks. They're doing violent crime and killing people and all this kind of thing. And then there's one supervillain fight with a mystery at the heart of it that causes the death of like this world's equivalent of the Teen Titans, I guess. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I've done 4 episodes and I still can't tell you what the actual story's about. All I'm watching is a tedious, plodding family drama with superpowers. And on the other end, I'm watching an origin story where I already know where it's going because they fucking explained it around the table in the present day segment in episode 2.
Yeah.
They literally say, so-and-so and so-and-so went rogue. Well, how did you feel when we all got our powers? And you're just like, so you're all going to get your powers and one of them's going to go rogue and become a supervillain. Right? And then they name him. And it's like, right, and then you see him in the flashback and you're like, right, okay, and then you realise you're on episode 2 and you think, right, episode 3 is going to be well lit because you're going to see everything, and it's like, nope. You're like, okay, well, let's get to episode 4. Anything happening? Nope. And it's like, fuck me. It's just like, I'll tell you what, narratively try and push it on. Put in loads of swears and people's heads exploding and everything is all very well and good when you're doing something like Invincible and you're pushing it along, but the episode like 30 minutes. But this is just dragging the fuck out, and it's just like, oh my life, please, someone just take, just give me episode 6 and 7 so I can see the inevitable build up to a punch up with someone, and then let me just have the cliffhanger so you can ask for season 2, please, for God's sakes, because it's just not going anywhere unless they pull out one hell of a twist in episode 5. This is just gonna plod and plod and plod and plod. It should have been just called Super Plod. I would have been happier. Fucking Jupiter's Legacy. I think Jupiter's Legacy is a fucking script writing course. Anyway, so I did that, and what else? Oh, went down to Brighton, braved the outside world, and I didn't die of anaphylactic shock from the sudden overdose of vitamin D for the first time ever. So that was good. And I think that's about it. That's about it. I'm queuing up the old playlist of watching For Mankind.
Right, okay.
Which I'll probably tell you all about next week, because that's lined up ready to rock and roll. But other than that, not a lot. I mean, apart from the fact that I had a crazy notion that I'd try and get a PS5.
I saw your updates on on Twitter about that.
Yeah.
And how is that going?
Well, it didn't go very well. Basically, a friend of ours, me and Darren's, Jess, a friend of the podcast, I guess, but he doesn't listen, so. But he recommended there's an app called Hot Stock Check UK. And it's nothing to do with cryptocurrency or any of that nonsense. It's basically you say what you want, and it checks into every online store, and every 5 minutes checks the stock listings. And if suddenly they get stock, it pings you. It actually sends a message. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, fine. Anyway, Argos dropped a whole load of PlayStation 5s last night at time of recording. That was Monday the 10th. And it did it at literally 50 minutes past midnight. And so my phone goes ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, right, okay, get up. So I turn my phone on. I flick onto the app. There's the app. It's going stock. I press the button. It takes me straight into the Argos website. It goes sold out. I'm like, okay. Well, that's that then. You can look at the time between stock and sold out. So I go like that. And it goes 47 seconds. Okay. So I just turn off the phone, think, oh, well, there you go. Bots and scammers and all that. Anyway, 2 o'clock in the morning, my phone. Ting, ting, ting. I'm like, oh, fuck. So jump up again. It's Argos. Slap the fucking phone and it's like, oh, I've got to unlock it. Get on the phone to open the Argos. Sold out. Bastard. Okay, I'm going back to bed now. Fuck that. 3:15 in the morning. Ting, ting, ting. Oh, fuck, yeah, now. Jump in there. Yeah, the stock lasted almost a whole minute.
Wow.
And then at 3:30, it went, and I went delete. That was the end of that, and I got the rest of my sleep. So right now, you're listening to me deprived of a massive amount of sleep, and I had a little glass of wine with me dinner this evening. And I seem to have just done that old man thing of jumping from enjoying my drink straight to hangover. Mm-hmm. So I've gone straight to pain in the eyes hangover. So that's where I am right now. That's your week. But So, so fuck the PlayStation 5, fuck scammers, and fuck that stupid app as well. Fuck it right in the ear.
So you're not impressed then?
No, not really. I can't say I'm impressed. And then I'm getting Jess sending me messages going, you do know that there's going to be another stock drop at game and everything. I'm like, right, okay, that's lovely. Go to game site and it says, oh, you can place your pre-orders down. I'm like, right, okay, I'll place my pre-order down. And it went, sorry, sold out. It's like, but the fucking page says pre-orders.
Yeah.
How can you put a fucking sell out on a pre-order if you have fucking got it on the front page?
It is. It's amazing how these sort of things run. I remember when the Xbox 360 came out, put my down payment for it. All right, I was going to get my son one. Walked in there to buy an Xbox 360, and they said, "Oh, you got to buy at least 2 games before we'll let you have it." And I went, "Go fuck yourself!" Turn around and walk straight out.
Yeah,
it's like, just give me the console, right? I'll buy the games later. Give me the console.
Yeah, that's all I want. It's got
all I want.
It's got an online presence. You can get online, get your games if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go. So that was my week. So we'll move on. We did do some film. This is good. This is good podcasting right here. We did done
a feedback.
We did do a film last week. We did do a film last week, and it was Rocket Man, the Elton John biopic, which I think overall we enjoyed a lot more than Bohemian Rhapsody. And especially when we were driving down to Brighton this week and this weekend, and then all of a sudden it was like the "I'm Still Standing" came on the radio, and it's like suddenly I haven't got Elton John singing anymore. I've got Taron Egerton in a straw boater going dancing around. Just how films get on your mind. Anyway, yes, one of the things we did say was that perhaps maybe even though it was a great film, due to its more explicit content for that nice young man Elton who sang about Princess Diana, it might not be the sort of film you want to watch for your parents.
Exactly.
But anyway, so it turns out in our feedback from Reverend Peter Organ, who does the Borgcast, and he's doing the Buck Rogers cast at the moment over at borgcast.libsyn.com, he says, I can do one better than watching with my mother. I watched it with my mother-in-law. It was my mother-in-law's pick to watch on her birthday. I would never have sat through it other than out of politeness to her, as I can't hack musicals for the most part. But I will say your man Egerton was really convincing as Elton Bog. Elton Bog? Which made it all the more...
Damn you autocorrect!
Yes, damn you autocorrect. Which made it all the more annoying when I pulled out of the film by people randomly singing, or creepy pool child, or that moment when gravity mysteriously failed. So yeah, it wasn't for me. Yeah, and also after your comment about last week's Thor comic, Dal, which is going to be a part of Love and Thunder.
Yep.
And then you started talking about the God Killer and people's eyelids getting sewn shut and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Lamont, Halo Man Lamont, has returned to the fold to actually give us a link to a YouTube video which actually has the motion comic.
Oh, good lord!
Of the whole thing. Yeah, Thor the God Butcher. He said, and he says, the motion comic of what Darren was talking about from YouTube. For those who can't be hassled or can't afford to buy it, both of those in my case. So I'm 30 minutes in. I'm really enjoying it and see what Darren means about adaptation. So there's a full motion comic of Thor the God Butcher. I know you're still off of Facebook at the moment, Dale, so I'll send you that link through.
That's
later.
Great. That's excellent.
Yes, so there you go. Like I say, not much in the way of feedback this week, but them's the breaks. No, not all winners. But we shall now take the break, roll the jingle, get ourselves a cup of tea, and talk about the history of time travel. That film. The documentary, the one about time travel. Or was it about history? Or was it about how time travel failed? Or was it how about time travel past? Or how time travel worked? I don't know. I'm getting confused. Roll the jingle.
I see it's nearly 5 o'clock. I'm here at home, my work's all done. No question where I'll be tonight, a place of cinematic fun. It's the lockdown, but I will not pout. Oh, my friends, I won't be seeing this out alone. There's Lee and Elton and Jim and Darren, all sitting far apart for social distance. We're at the shut-in cinema, down in the bunker of shun. Down in the bunker of shun.
Hey fellas, it's been nearly 5 years. You gonna let me out now or what?
No. Right, so The History of Time Travel is a 2014 movie available on Amazon Prime. It is directed and written by Ricky Kennedy. There you go, Ricky Kennedy. And it stars Stephen Adami, Krista Ailes, Valerie Black, Ryan Blackburn, Garland Buffalo, Peter J. Calvin, Kater Wright and Trey Wright, and Ben Everett, as well as the director himself in a cameo role. The film tells the story of the development of time travel during the end of the Second World War, towards the end of before the bombing of Japan. Under Roosevelt's advice, driving things forward from the warning that by Albert Einstein that the Germans may already have developed time travel. The story is told in a sort of documentary fashion, very much one of the History Channels, that kind of thing. And I believe the movie, though I have no information to hand, so I may need to be corrected on this or look up a little further. But I believe this movie was submitted at the end of a film course, a film studies course. Right. So it initially started off as a student film that was later pushed on to the circuit, shall we say, the South by Southwest and all that kind of thing. The movie festival circuit, where it gained traction and was bought up by Amazon, as I understand it. Ooh. So, again, details are hazy. It's not a film with a big Wikipedia entry, so we don't have an awful lot to go on. But, any advice, any information from out there will always be appreciated. Send your feedback into feedback@blackdogpodcast.com and tell us what we missed.
Well, I had a little look around, and there is absolutely bugger all on this. IMDb has a few quotes and trivia, but if you're not watching the film, then you're not going to pick up on these trivia things.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they're pretty self-sufficient, but
there was
apart from that,
there was a couple that made me laugh, but maybe we'll get to that. But we'll come to that later. So, normally we do, how much you think it cost and all that kind of thing, and a couple of reviews from elsewhere, but we'll just skip straight on to what we thought about it. Now, this was your choice, Jim, wasn't it? I believe
it was indeed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lovely. So you go last on our sort of little round table opening, and we'll find out what everyone just generally thought of it before we get to talking. Elton, you're our time travel fanatic, shall we say?
Yeah, okay, yes.
More than the rest of us. Let's put it that way.
Yes,
You've actually had a whole podcast dedicated to time travel. Let's just put it that way.
Don't remind me. Yes,
man, you can't escape these things. So,
I can if I press this button and go back in time.
Yep. So, Elton, you never actually did a time travel podcast, right?
No, that's right.
You were planning on it. Okay.
I heard a Russian Elton was doing it, though.
Elton?
Yeah. Yeah.
Eltonsky.
No, Russian, not French.
Eltonsky.
No. And that's when we discovered that Elton had a French counterpart.
Oh, Elton.
Elton. Anyway, yes. So, Elton, sir,
Yes.
what did you think of this film?
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it's clever.
Mm.
It's clever in its portrayal. I won't go into details just yet because
Yeah, we won't go into spoilers
and
just yet.
stuff
No.
like that. But I thought it was clever in its portrayal. I have little gripes with it of the portrayal as well, and some of the talking heads aren't great. But I think that's more of a movie opposed to an actual documentary type thing.
Okay.
You can always tell the difference if someone's in a movie portraying a documentary as opposed to a real documentary. I don't know what it is, but it's just because they're told, read this script and do it. And it comes off differently. It's weird.
It is a harder skill to pull off to seem like you're riffing.
Yeah.
To actually act like you're riffing.
Mm.
But, okay, cool. So, generally, overall, positive, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. Okay. Darren, what about you, sir?
Oh, right. Okay. So, it's a game of two halves, this, isn't it? The first half, as in, what I like about it is I think this is for a time travel movie, this is an incredibly original way of approaching the subject. Because I don't think I've ever seen a film that did what this film did.
Right.
At all. So, hats off to it, applaud it. I think, great, fantastic. It's brilliant from that point of view. What isn't brilliant is, as Elton's pointed out, is the acting in it. Okay. Now, I know, Elton, you said that you can always tell when someone's doing a documentary, or when they're doing it as a film. I beg to differ. Okay, and now this is a film that I've brought up many a times before in the past with this sort of thing. The yardstick I place against all this kind of stuff is Lake Mungo, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, there was only one person in that film that was unconvincing. If I'd fallen asleep in front of Lake Mungo, or should say fallen asleep in front of the TV, woke up and didn't know that Lake Mungo was actually a film and not a proper documentary, I wouldn't have known the difference. That's how good I think that film is.
Right.
Right. So it can be done. The actors in there were probably said, get from point A to point B, go for it.
Yeah.
Just talk. No script. And in this one, there are people, when they're talking, they talk like people don't talk. They talk like somebody acting. And that's what this was, pretty badly in some cases.
Right.
So, that, for me, I think, if you combine the acting ability of Lake Mungo with this subject, you'd have one heck of a film, or one heck of a mockumentary. I think that's what they call them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mockumentaries?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have one heck of a convincing mockumentary on your hands.
Okay.
I think.
Cool.
But, I like what the film was trying to do and what, how it went about it. I thought it might be doing that when I first saw some of the shots from it. I'm glad I was right. And so there you go.
Yeah. Okay. For me, before we get to Jim, I was going to say I loved it. I know what everyone's saying about the acting, and you're not wrong. But I will say that I've seen enough of these kind of Smithsonian Channel, History Channel, Discovery Channel kind of. How can I put it? There's a kind of American documentary style, where you watch the documentary and you can see that what they've done is they've been told, fill 30 minutes. Here's a box full of photos. Find some people and get them to say things that will tie these photos together. And God knows, I've seen a few of them done for cartoon on the making ofs of things and shit, where we've sat people down and gone, okay, can you just tell us, what do you think of this? And so to me, the acting doesn't feel. I know what you're saying about the fact that it feels like an actor acting casual.
Yeah.
And I've seen that before in so many things. You see it a lot when you watch some of these YouTube comedy skits, people doing stuff and they kind of go, oh, okay, I'm being casual sort of thing. You're like, no, you're not. You're actually clearly signposting the okay bit. But
yeah. Having
seen some of those American documentaries, I was kind of like, actually, do you know what? This to me feels quite authentic in that respect. Where I really kind of thumbs up the whole thing was when I started noticing small details in the background right from the off.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point I thought, oh, that's clever. And I think once it had me hooked, I think it's about 15 minutes in, but once it had me hooked, I kind of found myself forgiving its failings.
Mm-hmm.
The film didn't hang around. It was 73 minutes. It was in and out. It had a good, strong premise, and it was well sort of thought out. And the sort of the reenactments and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of we have to have a very stern, earnest voice talking about someone as they die, as we slowly move into a black and white photo of them smiling in a completely contextless form. It's just like, yeah, that's it. That is Ancient Aliens on History Channel or fucking any of those things. So for me, I didn't get pulled out by the acting. In fact, I thought sometimes the more unconvincing they were, the more convincing they were, if you know what I mean. But that was just me. So for me, this is total 100% thumbs up. I thought this was doing something that time travel stories haven't done for a while, which has made me go, oh, that's clever. Because and too often I sit there going, like with the Terminator things, and just go, that don't fucking work. No, or bloody Avengers Endgame, which I love as a film, but as we said last week with Jim, they say it's not Back to the Future, but it fucking well is. So this and Predestination, I think now are my two favourite time travel stories, because not only do they tell a decent story, but they also do time travel in a way that I think is different and fresh to what is, a pretty stale genre in many ways, much like the zombie genre. You either have to do it differently and do it well, or or you're just following everyone else and you're just doing the same old shit.
Well, yeah, there's kind of the same rules to follow, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly. And and to me, once you're on that train, especially with zombie movies, you know where it's going. Someone's going to get bit. Someone's going to hide their fucking wrist. That person's going to be the best friend who's going to die, and it's going to be a dog, and there's going to be someone holed up in a secret place who knows everything, who may be evil, more evil than the zombies. Fuck off. And to me, that's the same with time travel stories. Oh, we've gone back in time. Oh, we've got to realise we've gone back in time. Oh, we realise we can change things. Then we've got to realise we can't change things, and then we've got to go back to the future. I mean, sorry, copyright infringement. So yeah, no, for me, this was a proper hidden gem. This is the first time in a while I've sat there and watched the film and gone, actually, do you know what? That's really bloody good. I really enjoyed that. I want to watch that again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
How many times did everyone watch this?
Twice.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. But it probably would have been more, but like I say, I was too busy being bored stiff by fucking Jupiter's Legacy. Anyway, so Jim, what about you, sir?
I had a ton of fun with this. I think I'm on the same page as you, Lee, having seen these sort of cheap-ass cable documentaries. I thought for a film with not much budget, they really leaned into that in a clever way. Which, kind of sort of slightly stilted and kind of like, here's the best people we could find with the tuppence you gave us.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just very canny. They just nailed the look of those things from the off.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of settled you down. So you've been on a while, thought, actually, this is quite cheap, isn't it? But clever boys, well done, But then when, as I think we'll get to, there's a certain point where the film just pulls the rug from under you. And at first I thought, oh, fucking Amazon, you better not fucking glitched and jumped a reel.
Yeah.
And then I realised what they'd done, and I thought, oh, well done. Well,
Yeah.
I've not seen time travel done like this since Alan Moore's Time Twisters.
Oh God, yes. Oh, now there's a
that's
flashback.
that's what there's two Alan Moore Time Twisters, which I'll go into later. I think that this really reminded me of, and it's kind of it's that approach to time travel I've not seen done anywhere else. Of a very novel sort of way out of the usual paradox palaver.
Yeah.
And I thought this was just tremendous fun, and kind of I started noticing little things changing, and it's like, damn it, I really need to watch this again, because I'm sure there's stuff I missed before I caught on that things were being changed.
Yeah.
Did you notice the globe, by the way?
Yes,
back.
yeah.
The political map of the world, how it was slowly getting redder and redder.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, from here on in, ladies and gentlemen, you should just take everything that we said as a good thumbs up review, and it's a hidden gem. And if you don't want any spoilers, you should just stop right here and go and watch it. It's on Amazon. It's well worth your time, and it's shorter than most things on Amazon, and basically twice as entertaining than half of it. Well, twice as entertaining as most of it, I'd say. So yeah,
well, it's about the length of a documentary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
Well, that's a good move. That is definitely a good move. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we go into spoilers, because it is one of those films I think you kind of need to go in as completely cold as possible. Stop listening to us. Don't go looking on for the Wikipedia page that we couldn't find. Just go onto Amazon. Just give yourself an hour and a bit and go and watch it, because it's great. So and if you are still holding on from here on in, there will be spoilers. We will be talking spoilers. We will spoil this up the wazoo to have a conversation about it. But like I say, please stop here. Just know that it's a good film. End of story. Or carry on listening and we'll ruin it for you. Hurrah! You've all been warned. Right, anyway, so let's carry on. Yeah, so the globe. The globe I noticed, I have to say, because I noticed the gag with the chalkboard. Did you notice the gag with the chalkboard? Though I'm probably a bit too geeky for this one.
Gag with the chalkboard.
I know the gag. I didn't until I'd read the trivia.
Okay, well, in the first Raiders movie, right, and there's all the girls looking at Indy, and he's kind of like writing on the board. He says, just as they all clear out, he goes, "Now, be on my desk. You got to watch Michelson chapters 4 through 5," and he basically that's on the fucking chalkboard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So I'm looking at that thinking, oh, that's quite cute. Because at first my brain goes, Michelson, 4 through 5. Why am I thinking 4 through 5? What the fuck? And then I sort of went, oh. And as I did that, I noticed that the next scene we came back, I thought, oh, there it is. And it came back again, and it's like, hang on, what's happened to that globe?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like I was too focusing on the silly, tiny gag in the background. And then suddenly I noticed what was actually the gag sitting in the foreground. It's like, oh, yeah, that's nice.
Well, when the globe changed, because it like you said, Jim, it does feel like it skipped a beat. It's like someone's hit the DVD player.
It's the silver tie, isn't it?
Well, it's when the globe changes, the board behind him changes as well, totally.
Do you
I'm
know
not
what I
too
noticed?
sure what it's referenced in second time round, but it definitely changes.
Yeah.
There was before that happened though, you could tell that time was being fucked with, right? Just by the fact they kept mentioning his wife and the different years that she died in, and it's like, what? No, hold on, here we go,
Exactly,
here it comes.
Exactly.
This is it. He's doing it. Yes,
yeah,
nice.
Okay, so I mean, let's get down to brass tacks. I mean, we've all seen so many time travel stories. I mean, come on, let's we could probably name them on every digit of our body. It's just like how many of these fucking things have we seen? And they all follow either Back to the Future or fucking Terminator, don't they? Those are the two sort of standards. Or if you're really out there, you go for Star Trek 4 for no discernible reason whatsoever, just so you can say, "Oh, we went back in time and saved the whales." But really, I mean, how do you all feel about the way that it portrayed time travel in this?
I thought it was really good. What really pleased me was at the very beginning they explained the different theories of time travel as well, and it was like, oh, this is nice. They're acknowledging different theories.
Yeah,
and that I really, really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the multiverse, the fixed timeline, and then there's the one which I think we were referring to a while back with Peter Capaldi when I was doing the rewatch of the Doctor Who Peter Capaldi, and he does that gag about Beethoven. But they redo it here with the pocket watch. The creation loop paradox or something like that, isn't it? Where
that's
it's like,
right,
it's like if someone goes back in time with Beethoven's Fifth and then realizes that Beethoven never existed, so he writes the Beethoven's Fifth down and leaves it in a place to be discovered. Who wrote Beethoven's Fifth? Yeah, and that sort of thing, and it's given an actual proper name, isn't it? I can't remember what its name, but they
the infinite loop. Model.
It is the infinite loop. Yeah, but I like that too. I like the fact that they acknowledge there's multiple different ways. But what's the real trick? What's the real trick is after all of the explanations, is that you don't realise initially that you are at the end of that red line that they're showing you. You're never watching the loop. You're always at the end of the timeline, if you know what I mean. So you can't sit there doing the old, yes, but if you don't go back in time, you can't change this, because then what happens is you can't change that, and that doesn't do this and that and the other, because you're just perceiving time as it's already passed, not what's going on in the future, not what's happening in the past in someone else's timeline, just what the documentary's making. And
I found that confusing because I think you're right, because you're watching them go through it. You're seeing time change as they're making the documentary, but it's kind of like you're a step removed from the documentary. So the documentary is complete and it's changing in front of you, but they're unaware of it changing, but we are aware of it changing. So it's we're kind of one step back away from it. It's very
either that or outside of the timeline looking in.
Well, the problem, I guess, is that you couldn't do any. How can you account for that? I mean, unless someone goes past and actually wipes your memory and then tells you that you didn't remember anything you've just seen for the last 25 minutes. There's no way around that, is there, really?
Oh, no, I think it's a great way of doing it. I think the only other way of doing it is doing 4 timelines and showing them on 4 different discs. And that would be crap, basically. So I think what they've done is brilliant. It's like the best of collection. It's like a Now 24 collection of time travel, and they're showing you what's going on.
Now that's what I call time travel for.
But the people in the documentary don't know it's happening. It's just a genius way of portraying it to you, because you can actually see it flicking in between it, and the little jumps. You're like, even like the general There's so many things going on with that general, and I think he's only in like 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah, the amount of medals and
his
awards,
decorations.
Decorations. There's the president in the background, which one minute is Hillary, next minute it's Obama, and then it's someone else. I don't know if it changed again, but it did seem like it did.
I think
Sorry, go on.
I think it was Obama, Hillary, and then back to Obama.
Oh, right. Okay,
because everything kind of gets reset at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then what were you going to say, Dal?
There's also the changing of a complete expert on there as well. There's
yes.
It goes from being the guy to the woman.
That's good. Yeah, because when they go back in time and stop the car crash, you get a revised thing, and 2 other people die, and they're the parents of the other expert.
Yeah.
So he never existed.
Yeah.
So there's a different expert later on.
Adam Lundqvist.
Lundqvist,
yeah. I thought that moment, I kind of, because it was one of those moments when I was first watching it, and that was the problem. I kind of went in and I was kind of not prepared for how much detail I was supposed to be taking note of. So when I was watching it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, and they, when she escaped from the car crash in 1957 or whatever it was, and I'm thinking, okay, well that's quite cool. And then they show you the newspaper, and there's just this little bit where it says, Mr. and Mrs. Lundqvist or something like that, and then it cuts back to the expert, and it's this lady in this black dress, and you're like, hang about. What's just happened there then? And at first you just think, oh no, it's fine. It's just a time travel wibbly wobbly thing. We're now in a different timeline or something. And then all of a sudden, when he reappears, it's like, oh Christ, oh I get it now.
It's so clever, and they don't tell you, do they, at all?
No, I think that's the clever bit, is the fact that they don't acknowledge any of the changes, which gives you that sense that they're living the history that you've seen just change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely genius. Because, going back to something like Terminator, for example, that's the thing where we always have that problem, that, if the Terminator succeeded, then there wouldn't be a situation for the Terminator to go back, so he wouldn't have gone back, so he wouldn't have succeeded, so therefore he would have failed, and in blah, 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 the paradox fucks everything up. So just by him appearing, he doesn't succeed straight away, because otherwise there wouldn't be a situation in the future where he'd have to come back. So stuff like that, always annoys us, because we got into a big old hoo-ha, didn't we, last time about it? And
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's ones like Looper, where someone's having their fingers cut off in the future, and then all of a sudden their legs are disappearing in the past.
That's annoying.
Yeah. Which works in the context of the universe they present and the way they make time travel work, but you always feel like, especially like with Terminator and with Looper, you always feel like there's some kind of, well, don't worry about that fudge going on in the script somewhere. Someone's just, don't worry about that. Don't worry. It's just how we're doing it.
Yeah. With regards to Looper, I don't want to spoil it or anything like that, but that moment that you're talking about, it's a nice little trick that they do. I think it's a really good effect, and it's fun as you're watching it. But when you sit down and think about it, you think, okay, well, he did that. And he has to go through his whole life without whatever has been removed.
Yeah, which means it should be...
then again, and then again. And you're like, it breaks down, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, as soon as you do that, and then how the hell did he run to where he was? Mm-hmm. If for the whole of his life since X years ago, he had his legs cut off.
Yep.
So he wouldn't have been there, so it wouldn't have happened. So... And... That's the problem with time travel, isn't it? I mean, that's why predestination is the only other one I think that works, because everything links together, and it's an unbroken loop. And you're kind of going with the Ethan Hawke character, and you think, oh yeah, okay, he's going to get out of this. But in your own mind, your science fiction geeks go, well, he can't, because if he gets out of it, then he's fucked everything up. And so when it all loops back and it all closes that loop down, and you go, okay, like that. Thanks very much. That's good. And yeah, history of time travel is no different. You're not sitting there questioning the mechanics, because the mechanics are being presented to you in a way which is, we don't know how it works. However, it's obviously worked, but you're only seeing the results of it working.
I've just worked out a bit on it as well. Oh,
go on.
Man.
Oh, here we go. Elton's tin hat sparking. Go on.
Yeah. Now, you guys have probably worked this out. It's just popped in my head as to what's going on. Okay, so they lay out the laws of time travel at the start for a reason, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we witness the laws throughout the film because that's the reason why they laid them out. There's a bit at the end, it was a bit in the middle where I got very confused, where the ambulance turns up twice. And it's because one of the brothers has time traveled, and then he pops back in again. And then he was taken to a hospital where his brother was looking over him, and then he woke up, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
At the very end of the film, there's a moment where, and the brother slipped into a coma, and he's still in a coma at the moment. He's stuck in time, because time travel hasn't been invented yet.
No,
he's the lost thing. He's the pocket watch in time, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just worked it out, and it sounded amazing in my head. Yeah. And everyone else has already worked it out.
No. It's good, because that's the thing. This is the sort of thing. I think this is. I will say this. I think this is a good pub film, and I don't mean that as damning, but I definitely think it's one of those films that if we'd seen this in the cinema, gone straight to the pub, we'd be like for hours just going, oh, what does that, and where's that all linking?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, what does everyone feel about like the main story of the family? I mean, how do you feel that played out in the end? Were you? What I'm trying to say is, were you invested? Did you see how it was going, and were you satisfied with its conclusion?
I liked it. I liked the way for me, there's that kind of the rug pull moment for me is where Richard's invented the time machine, and then he falls into his coma. And he's watched over by his brother Aidan. He's like, "Hey,
yeah."
But then you have that thing again. It does a brilliant thing. It doesn't ever over-explain anything. But they keep trying to save their mother and fix their lives, but it's kind of inevitable. Like fate or destiny's going, no, she's going to die.
It's going to happen,
and so they have to keeps being altered and altered and altered. And I honestly didn't know whether it's going to be a. It's going to be upbeat ending, downbeat ending. Is it going to fall apart in the end? I had no idea. I was too busy kind of like trying to keep up. Hang on, what's going on with his tie? What's going on with that globe? Oh, bloody hell. This is,
Yeah, Russia's doing all right today. Yeah.
But I thought the way it resolved, and the final sort of rug pull is you started off with the history of time travel, on this like the History Channel, and then by the end it's on a science fiction channel. I thought that was just really funny. It was the theory of time travel. But nice. Well played. Well played. Lovely.
I mean, that was quite cool. I mean, what about you, Dale? How do you feel about that?
No, I love that. That's that. Yeah, I thought, is this going to change by the end of it? And it had. So, yeah, really well done.
Yeah. I think the thing I really dug was when Edward gets a visit from his sons in the past, who give him the machine that he doesn't know how to work. And it's promptly nicked. And you think, oh, this could not go more wrong. It could not go more wrong. But the thing that I really dug was the fact that when you see them building it, the first time they build it first time sort of Richard builds it in the 1970s, it's an Atari 2600.
Yeah.
Yes.
and even funnier is, do you see the cartridge?
Yeah, Pitfall.
Pitfall, yeah. So it's like, But then when you see it again in the next bit, they've built it in the 1980s, and suddenly it's like, and it's a Nintendo NES.
Yes. Yeah.
and then they go forward one more. Next time they built it, when they built it in the late 1980s, and it's a Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Like, oh.
It's a Super Famicom.
Super Famicom. Yeah, it's
yeah.
the American Super Nintendo. It's the Famicom, isn't it? Yeah. But it's just like, I just thought little things like that were just really just pinging my ear. I was just like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so funny. That's so good. And yeah, that really worked for me. All that sort of stuff.
You speaking about the actual family story as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that had no relation to the family story, but yeah, go on. Yeah,
I found it almost heartbreaking because it's one of these things where you kind of know where it's going to end up, and it's the final destination thing of time will find a way to kill you off somehow, and having the mother die of, was it polio?
Yeah, she died of polio initially. Then she died.
And then she had a car crash.
Yeah, and
then
then
died in that.
And then then you get that sort of weird metaphysical thing. Yeah, that weird metaphysical moment where she almost realizes she's not supposed to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so she goes and commits suicide.
Yeah, almost like she's resetting time. Yeah.
And then there's another one where the father goes back, and it's alleged that he kills her and then kills himself, but there was no fingerprints on the gun, which I got a bit confused as to what was this, the Russians doing this?
Yeah. Well, I thought that was probably the bit that sort of threw me the most. Was it Russians? Was it the CIA? Because that was after the, when he refuses to build it, when everyone thinks he's colluding with the Russians, because the Russians have stolen the device and he refuses to build a new one because the Atari 2600 hasn't been invented for at least another 20 years.
Yeah,
but
I thought the actual story of their family though was it was sad. It was really, really sad.
Do you remember the other reason why, one of the many reasons that the mother killed herself was because she kept having dreams about somebody coming at her with a needle?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's quite dark. The whole idea that your own son saving you is giving you some kind of weird childhood trauma from a polio shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he went back to when she was a child and gave her the injection, didn't he?
That's right. He waited and gave her the injection. So, yeah.
That's freaky. And yeah, it's kind of creepy. I love the creepy little look of the psycho stance as well, with like the knife, but it's not. It's the syringe going towards her. But yeah, man, that's proper creepy.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what it does do is it raises that most interesting question, which is, if time travel did get invented, and obviously you can't work out whether or not it's been changed or not, which is kind of frightening in a weird way. You're kind of like, well, I've lived this life. I know I've lived this life, but actually, was I supposed to? Mm-hmm. Because time travel's tweaked, and butterfly effect has basically swung my life story left when it should have gone right, and I found that really, in a kind of weird sort of existential way, really quite disturbing in a way most time travel doesn't do. Because you get that sense that, people are kind of happily carrying along with their lives, and then suddenly some rando in a garage has basically fucked up the entire Earth, and nobody knows anything about it. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was really powerful kind of idea, that nobody would be around to figure it out or stop it, which makes things like Time Cop that I watched a couple of weeks back even more fucking stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Did he even have a badge?
Would he even have a badge? Would he even have been let in the building is probably more the question, I think. But there you go. Why are you a detective? You can't even work out that you've travelled in time and nobody remembers you, you bellend.
He didn't do the He wasn't there for the induction.
He wasn't there for induction day.
No,
he never got the HR visit.
No, never got the pack. Never got anything.
Yeah, never got shown where all the coffee machine was or any of that.
Yep.
At what point I'm guessing you all went in blind with this, or that your first time you went in blind?
Yep.
At what point did you notice things, though? I know we said about the globe and stuff like that, but when did you actually go, what's going on here?
The repeated deaths of the mother, the different years that she died, and it's just like, what? Oh,
yeah. I think the globe was bugging me from the off, because that red mark was so prominent. I won't say that I noticed it all, but like I say, the Indiana Jones reference drew my eye to it. But when I finally was like, oh, okay, something is going wrong, was when he comes back from the first hop and he says he was visited by his brother. His brother Aidan was by his side. And I thought, nobody's mentioned Aidan. Who the fuck's Aidan? And as soon as they did that, I was like, hang about. What? Didn't they mention that he was an only child? And they never had a second. They never had a second one because she died of polio before they could. And then it was like, as soon as that happened, it was like, then all of a sudden I became like sort of almost hyper aware of everything. I was like, what's changed? What's going on? And and it could go on for like minutes and minutes of nothing changing. But I'm sitting there going, has he brushed his beard a different way? Is he wearing different coloured glasses? Is this been? And sometimes you couldn't work out whether or not it was just like because they filmed it a different day, like some documentaries they do, or whether or not something actually physically had changed. But the the newspaper down beside the Time historian.
Yes,
that was
it was a moon rock, wasn't it?
It was a moon rock.
Yeah.
Then it had Nixon's assassination on there.
Yeah, and Nixon gets through for a third term, and all that kind of stuff. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, we're in for. I'm gonna have to go and get an extra roll of Bako foil for my tin hat for this one. It was really good. Because that was just floating my boat. I was just like, oh, I've got to see this again and see all the things that have changed. Oh. And it's quite unusual because I don't normally watch these films until like a couple of days or the day before the podcast. But for some reason, it just appealed to me, the thought of it, and I thought, well, I'll best go and check this out as soon as I can. So I literally watched it on the Wednesday after we recorded. I was like, whoa! And I'm so glad I did because it gave me enough time to sort of watch it again.
Yeah, because I watched it today and yesterday.
Or did you?
Maybe it was yesterday and today. I don't know. I the first time I sat down, I honestly went in blind, but when you see these documentaries / mockumentary type things, you kind of know what you're expecting, and if they put an object next to them, you know something's going to happen with that. I love that little trick of just an object there, and it's going to be there, and it's in every scene, or almost in every scene. Okay, so you have the moon rock, which changes to the newspaper. You have the globe and the chalk writing and stuff like that. That was the first time I noticed it, when it actually glitched and it changed. And it was a harsh one. It just telegraphed, we've changed something here. Now pay attention.
Yeah.
The guy... Kevin Ulrich, the author that they had outside on the coffee shop.
Yeah, the
his
science
cup
fiction
changed.
Yeah. Andy's muffin.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, his muffin.
But none of his clothes changed, though.
No. But it was like one minute he's sitting there and the muffin's like half eaten, and then it comes back and it's full, and then the muffin's not there at all, and then it's like it's been completely devoured, and it's just like the cupcake case, and it was just like, And then when Russia's kind of like winning the Cold War, there's no muffin or cup or anything. It's just, and everything's grey.
Yeah, harsh times.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
And I swear some of the swing sets behind that Dr. Adam Lindquist, the guy that disappears, I swear the swing sets change behind him as well.
Well, originally there's like you can see kids playing in the park, but when it switched to the lady talking head, there's no kids at all. It's deserted.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, like I say, as the Cold War gets more and more harsh, everyone starts to wear more and more black.
Yep.
Oh dear. I mean, how do we feel about the Cold War story? I mean, because I know it's kind of played out more in the background than anything, but the idea of once the Russians get hold of it, how do we feel about that? Got any thoughts on that?
I really like that sort of take, because it's kind of, obviously the Russians, they can't go back and just wipe out America because they can't fuck the timeline so they don't end up with a time machine. And so they use it for espionage.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like genius of kind of how, it's like we knew they're up to something, but we didn't quite know what.
They would, though, them cheeky fuckers, though, wouldn't they?
They would, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was just an inspired use of sort of time travel of kind of, okay, well, we don't want to actually cause massive ripples in history, but we can use this to steal stuff and do the perfect crime.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting idea I've not seen done before, of like time theft.
Yeah, again, something big budget AAA movies could well do to pay attention to. Tenet. But again, it was that sort of. I love that idea of, you can imagine what they did was jump forward, see the moon landings, get the information freely. This is what we used. We built an Apollo Saturn rocket, and it's like, and it's the information's available in any kid's book. Brilliant, lovely. Bring that back to our timeline, exactly where we are right now. Hey, guess what? I've got plans for a Saturn V rocket. Cost me precisely $5 in the local bookstore. Sort of retroactive history tweaking, but only from your own perspective. I love that. That's brilliant. It was that was another one of those inspired moments where you just go, there you go. That's how you use time travel. You don't go back and fuck things up. You go forward, find out things that everyone already knows, and go back to where you started. So nothing for you has changed.
Well, the way they explained the time travel as well, with the very first experiment with was it Edward who did the
Richard does it with
Richard. Sorry, and he jumps forward 1 minute. And then he finds himself, and he tells himself to go back because then he will become him in the future. And then he goes back 1 day, but he couldn't get anywhere because he didn't have a time machine to get back.
He had to hide in his own broom cupboard and wait for himself to finish it.
Yeah. It's got a lovely sense of dark humour with some of this stuff. I loved all of that. That was brilliant. Yeah. Anything else? What else was there? I mean, like I say, for me, the time travel was perfect. The everything was suitably cheesy in terms of its presentation, and I think it was a deliberate thing rather than a diss on the people who made it. I think the first thing, and then Darren, maybe you can step in on this one because I think you might have something to say on this. But I looked at that and I thought, that's the format that World War Z should have taken.
Yeah, that is it. That's
that's
the way the book was done.
Exactly.
It was talking heads. None of this fucking... I'll tell you what, I'm just going to buy the title of this novel and then I'm going to do what the fuck I like with it, right?
Yeah.
Because the biggest waste of a fucking opportunity ever, all to suit probably Brad Pitt's ego. That's it.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have just done... Because,
done this
action sequences, because there are plenty of stories in that. You know, there are plenty of like small stories in there that would really, really work well with this format.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think this would have been this is how World War Z should have been done.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, you agree there, Jim. I heard you quite effusive
Completely,
there.
yeah. It's, World War Z is just perfect for a documentary. Why they had to fucking remake, effectively, I Am Legend, which itself was a fucking shit adaptation of a good book.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, by the way, just on the World War Z front, have a listen to the full star audio cast of that book, which has got people like Mark Hamill and Alan Alda in it. It's absolutely brilliant, really is. It's an abridged version of the book, but it's still really, really good.
Yeah. Because I think that, I mean, just going off topic and heading on to World War Z for a second, but I think what this movie does, what A History of Time proves, is if your idea is strong enough and the format is presented right, then you don't need 10 million quid's worth of special effects. You can just do a story well told. And to me, that's exactly what this film does, and that's what they should have done with bloody World War Z. In fact, I enjoyed this movie, which, you know, no disrespect to anyone who made it, but clearly it's made for a tuppence halfpenny in with school, university, and friends and all this kind of thing. And I enjoyed this a fuck sight more than Tenet. Which I found to be just basically James Bond, but with some time reverse effects, And it to me, it just stands as a perfect example of, this is what films are missing now: a little bit of inventiveness and tell a story well. Don't try and fucking wank us off with a bunch of CGI and loads of monsters if you can tell me the same story without even leaving the fucking office. You know what I mean?
Well, this is a perfect example of how, your imagination can actually give you more than special effects ever can.
Yeah.
Because I think we all had that thing of when you realise what this film was doing, it was like, oh, yes. You know what I mean? It just gets your brain fizzing, and you become super engaged with the film because you're going, right, what you doing? I've got my eye on you. Go on then. You know what I mean? And
I'm watching you now.
It's much better than kind of completely against the modern day trend of we have to explain fucking everything.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
And it's pandering to all this 20 things wrong with this movie.
Oh, God, yeah.
We saw him get up. We didn't see him get dressed. We had a suitor in the next film. Oh, fuck off and die. Why not take a new hobby? Playing on the motorway. Stop watching films, you fucking cunts.
That's a
quote
for the poster.
But we're losing the ability to tell stories and understand how stories work. And this is a perfect example of really good visual storytelling of it. It goes, okay, I credit you some intelligence. Here, come on, pay attention. You'll be rewarded.
Yeah. And then it gives you a little visual nudge with that scene jump mid interview.
Just give you a little elbow going, oh
yeah. Have you noticed yet? Well, if you haven't, you will do now. Bang. Yeah. I was just very, very pleased to have watched it. It's been a long time since I watched a film where I've sat there with a big smile on my face going, oh, this is right up my street. this is doing everything I want it to do.
Yeah. It makes you work for it. And I think I had fun working for it as well. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Working for it is one thing, but working for it where you feel like you're, the filmmaker's earning that respect and that effort that you're putting in It's not like go back to Tenet again. It's not like someone's sitting there. You feel like the director's sitting there in the background going, "I'm so much more clever than you," while basically telling us a really tedious story about a bloke who nicks a bomb. And it's like, yeah, okay, fine. So he's nicked a bomb. Oh, what? Everything's going backwards. Who fucking cares? He still nicked a bomb.
This is easy. It's easy to build a mystery and keep the audience in the dark if you don't give them all the clues.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's kind of deliberate obscurism. You're not being clever. That's not masterful storytelling. A masterful story gives you all the clues and still wrong-foots you.
Yeah.
Into drawing the wrong conclusion. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. And again, especially when in something like Tenet where you're sort of going, oh, that person in the mask. Well, why is he wearing a mask? Well, chances are it's probably the same person. They're fighting themselves or something. And then 2 hours later you go, oh, it's a twist. Oh, got you. Right. So, yeah, no, fuck Tenet. Anyway, yeah, so I haven't got an awful lot more to add other than to say I think this is a hidden gem and I'm really pleased I've seen it and I'm really glad you picked it, Jim, and I think I can't say enough to say I think people should watch this. Because I think for 73 minutes it gets in and out and does more than most time travel stories do in 2 hours. To be honest,
absolutely, yeah.
What about you guys, Darren, Elton? You got?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, this is well worth the watch. I say it's not often you come across something this clever and this sort of original in its in the way it's actually done. It's it's I highly recommend this.
Brilliant. And what about you, Elton?
After speaking with you guys about this, I realised I was probably a little harsh about the acting at the very beginning because it was meant to be like this, wasn't it? This is exactly how it should have been.
Well, I mean, again, it's an easy assumption to make that it's being done poorly, and also I completely understand that because I was on the same boat to start with, but then when you're sitting there watching it, sort of play out, you're like, well, actually, like I say, like that meme guy, the aliens guy, with the with the big hair standing up on end.
Yeah.
If you actually watch the thing where he's doing that, and he goes, it's just aliens, you think, he didn't just come out with that flourish with his hair standing on end. He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing.
Did you notice that as well about the way he looked? His hair got redder as it went on.
Yeah.
It started like tinges of ginger and then it went full on red.
Exactly. And so then when you see something like that, you notice the artifice even in the real deal. And you kind of go, well, then in which case, it's like when you watch a talent show or a cooking show, and then someone says to the camera, to the presenter, I think I've overdone the cinnamon. And all of a sudden, the first thing that the judges come out and do and go, yeah, you've put a bit too much cinnamon in that. Like, fuck, you knew how much cinnamon they put in that. Someone's gone over in the background there, whispered in your ear and said, they're worried about the cinnamon.
Yep.
And it all, the artifice, but yet somehow it's being sold as, oh, look, we've just casually thrown this in. And I'll fuck off.
Yeah.
Go on.
One other thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in a different timeline?
Are we us?
Yes.
Right now.
And I asked that because during the film, you had the Russians going back and stealing plans, etc., didn't you?
Yes.
But then everything was reset. But then we were told the Americans designed the Sputnik. And according to our references, the Russians made Sputnik. So really, are we sat halfway through this movie somewhere?
Well, yeah, maybe. And, the other thing is, you've got to ask yourself, did they succeed in getting rid of time travel altogether? because we only know that family, didn't end up creating time travel.
Mm-hmm.
The actual project was still going, and the notes were still there.
That's why there's no PS5s, isn't it?
Exactly. Some fucker is going back in time, buying them all up in 1 minute, and
yeah, that's why your phone keeps going off. It's like, oh, there, and bang, the Russians have got them.
The Russians have got them. Some arsehole with a fucking Super Nintendo's beaming himself in with a pad, going, yeah, I'll take 20 of them. Then beaming back in again, and from another computer, buying another 20. Yeah. Motherfucker. Yeah, so anyway, there you go. Right, I think that's about it, unless anyone's got anything further to add.
Well, I'll just add one last thing that might be
sure.
We were watching this last night, and it was just really kicking into gear. We both sat watching it with a big grin on our face, going, "This is so clever. This is a good movie."
Yeah.
Tracy said, "How did you hear about this movie?" And I said, "I honestly can't remember." I have no idea where I got the recommendation of this movie from. So it probably wasn't online because there's fuck all written about it anywhere. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Then I'm gonna go out there and say that what's gonna happen is at some point in the future, someone's gonna hear this podcast, go back in time, and point you to it.
Yeah.
Did Marty and Jen on the box room do this or mention it at some point?
They did, didn't they? Oh my word! Yes, they did. They did that. It was the episode
subliminal,
episode 3 or episode 2 or something like that.
Yeah, where they rebooted the box room.
When they rebooted Box Room, Marty was doing time travel films, wasn't he? Oh, maybe we've heard it from that. I don't remember.
That could be it, actually.
Because I haven't listened to that one. I listened to their first one, and then I missed the 2 others. They're still sitting on my phone, ready for me to go into work and listen to. Well, there you go. That's going to be it now, because now I'm going to be on the train tomorrow, listening to Box Room tell me about history of time travel. That's going to freak me out. Great. There you go. Well, that's it. Ooh-wee-oo. There you go. But you know what? I think what's most intriguing is the way that time travel is presented as just something that people can cobble together, Ghostbusters style. Yeah, someone's just got a random Atari from a thrift shop and a fucking a toaster oven and the CD player and stuck them all together and strapped it to their back, turned it on with a fire extinguisher, and ding, off they go.
Well, I think we've said this before. You have like the DeLorean in Predestination. They have that
the
violin
suitcase.
case, don't they?
Yeah. I love that though. That's interesting to me. The sort of like the homebrew scientist, and that's almost terrifying as well, because if you suddenly think, someone random down the street with no idea of the consequences of what they're about to do just goes, oh yeah, I'll go and sort out like the last 14 lotteries. Basically wins the last 14 lotteries and immediately bankrupts Lottery HQ. Then buys the government. I don't know. Yeah, it's that's kind of an interesting plot. Maybe someone will make that. Someone with no idea of the consequences of the time that they're fucking up. Maybe getting like a sports almanac and going back from like 2016 or something. Maybe I should write that down, send that to myself in an envelope. Copyright that. Anyway, right, I think we'll leave it there. Right, brilliant. That's good. So that was History of Time Travel. It is available on Amazon Prime. I don't think it's going anywhere soon, so if you hear this in a couple of weeks' time or tomorrow or whenever, or even 2 weeks before we recorded it, go check it out. And I would say go and check out Marty and Jen's box room, but I don't know what they said about it, so I have no idea. So yeah, go check it out anyway. Box room's cool. Right, so I guess it's time for me to pick my film. As per usual, when it comes to me, I've gone through Amazon and Netflix and picked out a few films that I'd quite like to pick. And I've got 5, I say reasonably good ones, because I haven't watched them in either ever watched them or haven't watched them in a long while. And I've got one that's clearly going to be shite, but I'm curious.
So you're shite curious.
Yeah, I'm shite curious. And I'm just wondering whether or not we've had it all too good, and now that lockdown is slowly easing, we should return back to the days of shit-covered goggles.
Oh, man alive, no.
Mate, I've got some waiting in the wings, if you want them.
Oh, no.
I've got lumps of it out the back. Yeah.
Well, for those of you who've only joined Black Dog for version 2, shit-covered goggles used to be a thing where we used to look at films which were clearly, demonstrably bad, but were they always that bad? So,
9 times out of 10, yes.
10 times out of 10, yes, they fucking well were. But every now and again, something like Street Fighter the movie would tickle us, and even if it was terrible, you could at least enjoy it on some level.
Oh, well, it's, maybe you, but
yeah. And here I am calling you from Pokey Yolks Asylum for the Criminally Insane. Anyway, so guys, I'm going to pick one of you at random, and you're going to pick a number between 1 and 6. I don't know who I'm going to pick. Actually, I do. Darren.
Oh, good Lord.
Pick a number between 1 and 6.
3.
3. Okay.
Yep.
Number 3 is... He says waiting for his phone to boot up. Okay. Number 3 is Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds.
Oh. Interesting.
And around the table, ooh. There you go. That has just appeared. It's just appeared on Amazon Prime.
Fantastic.
I very nearly picked it last week. I'll pick something I've not seen.
Yeah,
Take a chance.
Yeah, don't worry,
That was
Jim.
a contender for me last week. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, Jim. I'm always Mr. Not take a risk on these things. So you were in a good chance. If you'd picked 4, Darren, you would have got Anti-Life, Bruce Willis.
Oh,
which was my shit one. Yeah, the new one.
Anti-Life. Oh, right.
Anti-Life.
Okay.
That was
a sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire.
We can only hope. But we're not. You didn't pick 4, so we're not doing it. So there you go.
Bruce Willis going,
okay.
Oh, hello, dear.
Yeah, hello, dear. I've come to clean your windows. I'm just going to dance around in a lady's underwear. Anyway, so so we're not doing Anti-Life. So everyone breathe a collective sigh of relief with that. But instead, we're doing Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds.
Okay.
How do we all feel about this, Darren?
Well, as much that was a surprising movie for me when I saw it. I'm pretty much why haven't they done a period version yet? Why haven't they done a period version? And yet, this version was actually better than the period version the BBC of all fucking people did. The BBC did it's the BBC, and they did a period version of War of the Worlds.
Dow, deep breath, happy place. I've heard you and Jim and Andy go off on one in the derelict. You need to take a deep breath. It can't hurt you anymore. Rave's ball can't hurt you anymore. So, with that in mind, understanding I know exactly where you're coming from with this, Jim, how do you feel about watching this film next week?
I saw this back in the cinemas, and it was kind of obviously after that purist sort of twitch of it's not Victorian. But I thought it had a lot of the book in it, and it brought scenes of the book to life very well. But it also had some nice nods to the George Powell version as well. And I thought when it's good, it is really bloody good. And some really good performances, I think, as well. And there's a certain amount of disaster movie cliche, but I think it's kind of there's so bits of it. I think it's just so fantastic. And have such an apocalyptic atmosphere. I really think it's worthy of the name War of the Worlds.
Okay, and Elton, what about you?
I love this movie.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, good. Well, there you go. See, my gift to you. When was the last time you watched it?
You say that there's films that if they pop on TV, you just end up watching it to the end. This is one of them for me.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it was on TV maybe at the start of this year or maybe at the end of last year, and just, do you know what? I quite like this. I can just sit and watch it. It's like watching Friends to me. It's just fun. I just enjoy it. There's one little thing in it though. That there's some amazing shots, but one little thing that bugs me, and I will mention that next week.
Okay, if it still bugs you, that is. You never know.
Oh, it will. It will.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Cool. Okay, well, I'll say nothing about that then. I'll just leave you guys to come over that. But for me, I'm glad you picked from my random list the right one, Dal.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. Yeah,
but didn't we go to see this at the cinema?
We did. We went to see this. I think it. I can't even remember when it was. But we did. Well, I do remember seeing it. I do remember at the time when I was being a bit more militant about my War of the Worlds. Yeah, I had a moment. Of fuck off.
I trust me. One of those is going to be coming next week. There is a certain thing about this film, a certain aspect of it that just it's kind of like that. Oh, we've just told this amazing story, and oh fuck me, it's 5 minutes to tea time. Well, we better finish this then.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. And then they all lived happily ever after. Yeah. Oh, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
so yeah, there's definitely that. Yeah, end scene. Yes. So,
exactly. Anyway, but we will discuss this more next week. If you've listened to this podcast and you want to have a little comment or you want to send any feedback in, written or MP3, do keep it short, then send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or you can zap it through to me in the DMs on our Twitter, which is @blackdogpodcast. Or if you really want, you can jump on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/groups/blackdogpodcast. Or you can go over to the website. Guess what that is? And just leave a comment underneath the episode, and we'll read it out next week or play it next week. See how it goes. So there you go. But yes, do get involved if you saw History of Time Travel, and let us know what you think. And that's it for us. But before we go, let's find out what's happening in Jim's Hypnagoria land. What's going on with you, sir, this week?
This week I've just reviewed a sequel to my favourite non-fiction book for the last few years, Scarred for Life Volume 2, the 1980s. It's actually going to be in 2 books, and this first book is just television. All from the 1980s in all its very traumatic forms. The Mad Death, yep. Day of the Triffids.
Yep.
Sam ODing on Smack. It's all there.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Donald Pleasance telling you to stay away from the water.
Yeah.
Yep.
And most of the sugar turns to alcohol.
Yep. Yep. Cool. And anything else, sir?
That's probably it at the minute.
Okay, and that's over.
Do some more this week.
And that's over at hypnagoria.com and
Indeedy.
over on Rogue 2 Media. What's going on, Elton?
Well, this is my 5th recording in 6 days now.
Wow. Okay.
So, for some reason, this weekend churned some stuff out. And it all started over at the Great Derelict, where we were having a discussion about time travel.
Wibbly wobbly timey-wimey.
Indeed, yes. So head over there. Grand Prix podcast as per normal. Cars going around in circles, flappy paddles, blah, 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 blah. What else? I recorded I've recorded 2 Shonky Labs. One yesterday, one today. And
Blimey.
Yeah, doozies.
Doozies, right, okay.
Doozies. The first one will be out on Sunday. Or if you want to head over to Patreon and drop a pound over there, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, it'll be out on Monday or into the wild if you want it over there. And then the next one will be out in about a week or 2 after that.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. Excellent. Okay, so that's all over at rogue2media.com.
Yeah, that's right.
Brilliant. Okay, well, there's nothing for me to promote, like as per normal, until I get my my Wacom Cintiq. And then once I get that, then I'll be back to doing some drawing. But otherwise, at the moment, everything's just static. And if you're listening to this, you know where I am. What about you, Dal? Have you got anything going on?
I will be appearing on the Great Derelict in a couple of weeks' time. We're doing the recording this week, so I'm looking forward to doing that. In fact, 2 days' time we're doing it.
What's the subject?
I will leave that for Andy to reveal.
Oh,
because it is. He's not actually put it out there yet, so I'll leave that there. But it's good.
Okay, cool. And I think that's about it. Otherwise, I will just apologise up front now for anyone following me on Facebook or Twitter. For the up-and-coming endless stream of It's Bless Effect, which is going to happen as from Friday. So, because when it comes out, that will be all I will be doing.
That'll be all she wrote, man.
That will be all she wrote until such time as I come out a gibbering mess. So, anyway, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Do check out History of Time Travel. It's on Prime. And that's it. Leave us feedback in all the usual places. And until next week, when we will be doing War of the Worlds, we'll see you later. Take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.